Hi guys, welcome to the Not Just Boxing podcast. It's episode 1. I'm here with Terry. First of all, we just want to say a big thank you to our sponsor ETS, Eco Technology Solutions.
Yeah, thank you very much. They're our sponsors. They'll help you with any technology devices that you've got, any repairs that you need. Use the Fix It With Not Just Boxing to get 25% off with them.
Brilliant.
Right.
So today we're just going to go over a little overview of who we are and our boxing backgrounds.
Yeah.
So Terry, when did you start boxing?
So boxing's always been in my sort of family. My dad was a boxer, so I've always been around it. You know, he's quite well known in Portsmouth for his boxing as well. So I've always been around it. So I started at 8. I remember going to the Stacey Boxing Club. Anyone in Portsmouth would know the Stacey. All of us went through there. My dad was coaching there for a little bit as well, with Colin Williams. So yeah, I started there, but I was quite a chubby kid, so I was in and out.
What age?
I think my very first boxing session was must have been 8 or 9.
Okay.
And do you know what you notice when you go into a boxing gym? You would have noticed this: all the sweat, all the blood, all
great.
that smell and all that dirt. And this is a proper old school. As ropes, they didn't have like a ring; they just had ropes round.
Yep.
Which is crazy, man. Yeah, so it was a very opened up my eyes, and straight from there, people said, "Wow, you're good, you can move." But I was a chubby fat kid, never took it seriously. It's only when I took it seriously, I think I was 16. Yeah, I said to my dad, I want to get back into boxing. He's like, "You don't want to do boxing, son. Stay out of boxing." Like, no, I really want to do it. And at the time, he was coaching in the Navy. So during the off season, I went into the Navy, did 2 weeks training. First day, Ash, I went there and they did the track session. Do you know the track?
Yeah.
And there was this guy come over from Dominican Republic. He was getting ready for the Commonwealth Games. 64 kilos and he was about 6'1", massive guy. And I thought I was quite fast. So what they said you have to do you know the way you do 20 seconds and 10 seconds off?
Yep.
20 seconds sprint,
Yep.
10 seconds off. You do it for 3 minutes. No, I think it was 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever we did back then. And we had to do it around the track. I sprinted on the first one and I was gone. And I was like, this is crazy. And the guy just overtook me. Do you know when you get demoralised when someone overtakes you?
Yeah, so I guess that's me and you in every single race we've ever ran.
Well, actually, I think Radu's got one where I'll beat you. So so we need to keep hold of that one pretty good. But yeah, did that really tired. And do you know when you start running and you're not used to it running that hard, you start getting headaches.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
a
ever
whole new
felt that?
experience. Well, obviously the oxygen is just hardly getting to your brain, and you're all like lightheaded and that.
Yeah, mate.
But I'll tell you what, when I did sprints at Gym 01, moving on a bit later, every Saturday morning, by the end of it, you just try not to pass out. It's
mad,
it's
isn't
a nice feeling though.
It is. But I was 16. I've never done that sort of training before. Never. I thought I was a rock or whatever, solid. But that just introduced me to something else. And he's like, "Terry, are you sure you want to do this?" So we did it for 2 weeks. Every day I kept coming back. Just kept coming back. Kept getting fitter. Kept getting stronger. And at the end, like the coach at the time, the Navy coach, only on the last day he took me in the pads. He was like, "Wow, you've come on a lot during these 2 weeks. Stay at it." I was
Just
like,
2
wow.
weeks?
2 weeks I did it, and I'll come on fitness-wise. I was able to do so much more. Boxing-wise, I'd improved tenfolds. Just getting beat up by these guys, mate. And being around these people, it just helps. When you're around people that are more experienced than you, better than you, you're hopefully only going to get better.
Was this before you ever had a bout, obviously?
Before, yeah, 16, I never...
So how long did it take from when you started getting back into it to when you had your first fight?
So 16, my 17th birthday, because it was during the summer holidays, I went there, and then I took a break off for a year, and then Q said, we're starting a boxing club at the university.
Q Shillingford.
Yeah. So Wayne Gardner, who was a Navy coach there, he got in contact with me, said come down and train with the university boys, and I was 17, 18 at the time. Very raw, very novice-y. But yeah, he took me on, trained me for a little bit, and stayed with him. I had my first fight with him.
At what weight?
Mate, back then I must have been about 62 kilos.
Pretty light.
It's pretty too, yeah. So I've been about that sort of weight, 62. So yeah, had my first fight, won my first fight at the University of Portsmouth home show. Great venue.
They've changed a lot, right? Didn't you say back then the venue you could have like 500 people?
500. Yeah, my one at my home show. I think I sold about 200 tickets for that show.
Wow.
500 people were in the. It must have been 500 other people in there. Because he had some good boxers back in the day. James Conner.
Yeah.
Boxed on that show. And Brian, Dan Hendy, all the boys boxed on that show. So everyone did well on the tickets. But yeah, great occasion, and yeah, good memories in that show. And since then, it's just I've always trained, but I've always been in and out of boxing because I guess you're always working, you got family, you got all these things. You know, towards the end, I was really dedicating myself to boxing, and you know, that just shows. I've made it to national finals, got to box around the world.
So, what accolades have you got? So, obviously, how many fights have you had, first of all?
So, I've had 30 plus. I think about 38. Yeah, about 38
And
fights.
what's your best win?
Best win? Definitely in the Bucks national semi-finals was my best win. There's an undefeated fighter, 9-0 he was. Can't remember his name. Really tall fighter, very confident. And yeah, I boxed 4 times that week. I had a warm-up fight over in Bournemouth.
Was this at 62 kilos?
This was at 60.
Okay.
And this was getting ready for the championship. So I boxed 60. I remember I boxed terrible in that warm-up fight. But I got the victory. The first round, quarter-final, I boxed in there. Oh, mate, that quarter-final. First 2 rounds, I boxed the guy's head off. Third round, my legs went. They just went. I couldn't stand up. And the guy who couldn't get near me was just throwing everything. And I just had to just keep pinging him off with that jab. Do you know? Have you ever felt like that? Where your body's... for some reason, like, you give this guy a standing count. You knock his head all over the place. Then all of a sudden, like, your leg's just gone. I'm so lucky. Well, I wasn't lucky because I knew I wasn't going to stop. But I got through it.
Mm-hmm.
Got through it. And then, the worst thing about that fight was afterwards when your head started banging. Have you ever felt that where you got being punched so many times? I'm lucky it was only 1 round.
Yeah.
He was heavy-handed.
Being punch drunk, I've had it quite a few times. You know, you've got a free night out after that.
Yeah, I know you is.
You're not all there. You're
not all there.
Yeah.
I bet you've had that. That's why you are how you are, aren't you?
Yeah. It sums me up, really, mate. Yeah.
So that was that, and then box it. Yeah, 9-0. Box that kid. Boxed his head off. Couldn't get near me that night. I don't know what happened. It was such a good fight. And yeah, I think I'm like 15-5 or something like that. It's a crazy scoreline. So it was good. It was a good fight.
Yeah. So obviously that's changed now as well. The scoring.
Yeah.
So when you were boxing back then, like the scoring, it must have been harder. It was probably there were more robberies back then, right?
Yeah, definitely. In the final, remember I boxed the University of Portsmouth guy. Some guy, and I was so confident going into it. So confident. First, boxed his head off for 3 rounds. Boxed his head off. I was tired towards the end, but that generally happens with me. But somehow they gave it to him as a split decision. Everyone in the arena, you know that it's a robbery when everyone says, I don't know how he won that fight. And that fight was quite hard to take. But yeah, man.
But that's what the amateurs is about. Obviously, you're learning. You know, when you're professional and you get robbed, like, and there's a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
Like, I think as bad as it is, I think it probably happens way more in amateur boxing than it does in professional.
Yeah.
A lot of these judges, it's very dated. It's very like you get people. I've seen judges sitting ringside, not even looking at the fight. Like they're not even looking, and they're all fairly old. It's nothing against them, but they just. I don't even think some of them ever boxed before.
Yeah, some of them got a lot of agendas as well. If they don't like a club, if they don't like a coach, if they don't like a book, and they'll tend to. It's very political. I remember Greg Breede. We both boxed in the Southern Counties final, and he gave this guy. I'm telling you, he gave this guy a beating, absolute beat. He gave him 3 standing counts, battered him. The guy couldn't even stand towards the end. He was like, "Do you know when you're hanging over and you're leaning over the ropes?"
Yeah.
He was doing that, and Greg was going to the England GB camps at that time. And I couldn't believe it that they raised the other guy's hand. I was like, what is going on? Obviously, my loss back then in this was bad, but that was that was worse.
Yeah,
That was really bad.
Sometimes you can't even question it.
Yeah.
It's like I remember when I read Roberto Duran's book, Hands of Stone. He said, I'm pretty sure his first fight, he boxed the guy, and his dad was the ref.
Oh way!
So
Are you gonna think of that?
yeah, Duran beat him. Obviously, he smashed him apart, but he lost, and he
Wow.
took it badly. But yeah, it's crazy that it still goes on now. Like you would think that with the officiating, the amount of money that's slowly getting pumped into
So,
it.
said it. Duran lost.
Yeah, yeah. He took a loss on the cards because obviously the kid was known.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Corruption in the sport, right? It's
Mhm.
it's all the way. Unfortunately, you see it all the way from the ground level, grassroots levels, all the way to the top level.
So let's talk about coaching. Obviously, you went to Scotland for a couple
my man.
years,
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, I was over there. Amazing experience. Have you ever been to Scotland?
once for work.
Did you go for work? What part did you go?
I went to Edinburgh, but I was actually in a hotel for the night. So
Did you?
I want to go. It's a beautiful place, great
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So traveling there is beautiful. But yeah, I worked at University of Stirling. I went there for the job. Remember, I was helping out. I was going through Freshers Week,
Yeah.
whatever, where they go have all the sports clubs there. All the clubs are there promoting their club to the students.
Mhm.
I was walking around. I was like, "Where's the boxing club? Let me see the boxing club." And all I saw were these two little girls. Didn't know what they were doing. Trying to get members in at the club. I was like, "Guys, I want to join the boxing club. What's going on? What's the scene?" He said, "Oh, we haven't got any members. We haven't got a club going at the moment. We need a coach." I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know many people around this area."
Big opportunity there then.
Yeah, they said. I said, "I'm looking for someone to box." They said, "Oh, but we need a coach." I said, "Oh, mate, They said, "Do you want to help doing the coach?" I said, "Yeah, I don't mind. I don't know that's what I'm doing, but I'll give it a go."
Yeah.
They said, "Yeah, come in for a taster session and we'll do it." So on the taster, went to the taster session. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't have a plan. I had a plan, but I didn't know what I was doing. Had about 4 people at this class. And yeah, it was very nervous at the beginning, but got into it. Get used. Do you know the things that you were taught? I was able to implement that with the kids or the students there.
It's crazy to coach, to show people things. It's completely different to when you're learning, like to stand in front of a group of people and to show them the perfections or the fundamentals from the ground up. Like there's so much to explain, and you've got to find a way to teach them bit by bit. Because if you've got a beginner, you can't just say, right, this is how you throw a jab, and you tell them 20 little things that they have to do to throw a good jab. You just have to get them in a line, show them the basics, and then just keep tweaking and just let them come back and keep adding to it.
That's the thing. That's the key thing, is you show them the basics, what you said, and then you start adapting it to their sort of training needs. So a good coach, you'll see, they won't just teach them one way. They'll teach them to the requirements of that boxer. So if he's quite aggressive and he comes forward, you've got to adapt yourself for that sort of style.
Yeah.
And obviously teach them others things, but it's good to do more than one thing, right? So yeah, that's what makes a good coach. And I've been fortunate enough to have coaches that have not just shown me one way, but shown me different ways of boxing in a fight. So I was able to do it. Yeah, I was able to get that going at the club. Just went from strength to strength. Loved it.
So the people you coached, so did you do it for 2 years?
I did it for a year, and then I dropped out for a little while because I had too much stuff going on.
Life gets in the way.
Yep, and then they asked me to come back towards the last 2 months when I was about to come back to Portsmouth, and I was keen to get involved. It was brilliant. Yeah, so when we first went there, we started with 4 members. 2 were committee members. 3 were committee members, and 1 was just a general member.
Radu, can you get me some water, please, mate? Yes. Cheers.
Yeah, 1 was just general member, and then we grew to, in the first year we grew up to 35 members.
Wow, nice.
35 members, and we had we had people interested in women's classes, so we introduced women's classing. People introduced in kids classes. We got kids classes involved.
Did you have anyone competing when you were there?
That's the thing. The kids, we had 1 or 2 that were ready to compete, but I left at that stage, and the people that went forward, they were not ready. So 3 were entered into bucks, and I said, these kids ain't ready. Was it they
So
asked?
they went to Bucks. So for people listening, British University Championships. So they went to Bucks without any bounce, any experience.
Any belts, no experience, and I think
What about, did they have any good sparring?
no sparring. No, don't have any of that sparring. So I didn't think any of the boxers were ready to compete at that stage. We had one boxer who was ready to compete, but he was doing his PhD and it got to an important stage in his career. We had to prioritise that. I was like, all right, fine. But the 3 boxers that went to the British Championships, University Championships, they were not ready. One guy was 81 kilos. He entered in at 91, and he got dropped in the first round. He got hurt in the first round. The other one, I believe, got stopped in the second, and one went through to the 3 rounds. So it just shows you the inexperience that they did have in terms of the coaching. But I think they're in good hands now, they're doing well. So it's going good. The club's gone strength to strength.
Nice.
So yeah, man. How about yourself? You obviously how did you start boxing? When did you start boxing?
I started when I was 15. I was playing football. I was not that good at football, but I thought, you know what? Boxing looks pretty good. That's good for fitness. I'll lose some weight. Yeah. So I was chatting to my mate Luke Wilday, and I was like, because he was boxing, he'd been doing it for a year or so, and I was like, I'm really keen to get into it. And obviously, a lot of people say whatever, but I was so interested. And he said, get yourself down to Maidstone Gurkhas. They're great for beginners. There's a good coach there. Yeah. The coach is called Jap. He's got I think he was in the Commonwealth Games 1980 or something. But
nice.
Great coach. Yeah. So I popped down. I brought some mates with me. So we all went down there. And the first thing that we did, I remember obviously, so I had no gloves, and the smell of the gym and everything, it's like a proper boxing gym.
Yeah, man.
And you go into this little spare room and there's all of the communal stuff. So I'm borrowing these gloves. I've got no hand wraps, it's all sweaty and, however old they are. And got all of the gear there, and I loved it though. So just seeing everyone smacking the bags and seeing people shadow box, I was so intrigued because I'd never been around it. In my family, no one's really ever, boxing's been on, but, we've always been about football really. But I remember I tried skipping. I went with a couple of my mates and we're all standing there, beginners, jumping rope terribly. It was hilarious. And then in my head I was thinking, I can't even skip. I needed, obviously I was tired after the warm up. I was ready to go. But I was so keen to just learn. Going in that first day and seeing how everyone was and what, I really looked up to everyone in there. And I wanted to be a better version of myself.
So what's quite interesting is I got a background in boxing. My dad was a boxer. It was in my sort of genes to try boxing at least. For you, what actually brought you to? But I know you said it was Luke who said let's go to a gym. But what made you actually want to stay in the boxing gym?
I wanted to get better, and also when I started getting better in there, after a couple of weeks, my friends dropped out. They weren't keen on it. After having a couple spars and being punched, it's not everyone's cup of tea to be hit in the face. But I was just obsessed with it. I've got a personality where I go all in. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And every time I was getting better, I was just addicted to it, and all my friends that were there, everyone was bettering themselves. It was such a good environment, At 15, you could be at parties drinking, or you can just go away from all of that and you can start focusing on yourself. And it improved my mental health. I was losing weight. I just felt confident in myself, and I thought, this is great. So after 3 months of training, I actually had an amateur fight.
Wow.
Bearing in mind, I'd never walked in to a gym. So within 12 weeks, and funny story, I was talking to someone, and obviously I wanted to lose weight, and Herbalife was a thing. Obviously, not talking about Herbalife. It's good. It's good for supplements and stuff. But I was only having one meal a day, and the rest were these shakes and everything. And I lost 8 kilos in not even 2 months.
So what were you weighing originally? So when before you lost 8?
I boxed at 66, but I weighed in at 64. I just lost so much weight. And I think I started off originally sort of mid 70s. So in 3 months, I dropped so much weight. And literally I was training too much and I was not eating enough. So obviously you're about to crash at some point. And the week of the fight, I was so worried about my weight and everything else because I was so new to everything. I didn't know what was good, what was bad. Obviously, I've learned so much now. But back then, I was just trying to wonder, like just everything, what's good to eat. And I made so many mistakes. The week of the fight, I remember I trained every single day. I was doing some double sessions around school as well. And I was thinking, yeah, I'm going to be ready, you know. I think the fight was on a Saturday. I had about 50 mates. There were school teachers turned up. I had like all my family there. And like obviously it was I was so obsessed with it.
Eager to impress, right?
Yeah.
To do
Like,
well in that fight.
You're laying in bed at night and all you're thinking about is just different movements, throwing the same punches, you know. So I was so into it, but I overtrained terribly. I think I ran 8 miles the day before the fight, and then I went to the box gym that evening thinking, oh, I better get some rounds in, you know, to keep fresh. No, it's not keeping fresh. Obviously, do not do that. If anyone's ever thinking of doing it, don't. But yeah, I remember the day of the fight, I was fine in the morning. I was going around my mate Rob, and then when it got to the weigh-in, I had to weigh in with my trackies on. I had to put keys in my pockets because I was so underweight.
What'd you weigh in at on that fight?
I was like 1.5 kilos under. I think I weighed in like 64.5 when it should have been 66, I want to say. But yeah, when it finally got to me getting in the ring, all of my energy had left my body. My legs were like lead. I was just like walking into the ring, my legs had gone. Obviously the nerves. I walked into Maidstone Leisure Centre, and yeah, obviously everyone's there, everyone's shouting and that. And oh my god, I don't even know how I boxed for 3 rounds. I lost on a split decision. Wow. I did terribly. The video somewhere it was a very big learning fight. That the next day I was back in the gym. I was obsessed, you know.
Good.
I knew everything I was doing was wrong. I was asking the right questions to people, and even to this day, you know, I'm just always learning. So
Brilliant. No, I've had something similar like that before, but I had it in a bigger stage. I had it in a national final. I had I boxed on a Thursday, I remember, and I just about I won, but I wasn't happy the way I won. So we didn't have to box again till the Sunday. So I went a little bit mad. I went Thursday. I went back because we were Sheffield. We drove back to Portsmouth, and I trained that night. I went for a run that night. Next day, I went for a run in the morning. Did a boxing session on the evening. That was on Friday. On Saturday, I did sprints.
So you did sprints the day before the fight?
Did sprints the day before, and I did a full boxing session with sparring.
What was your diet like? Your nutrition?
That's the thing, and my nutrition was terrible because I weighed in on the night 59 kilos, lightest I've ever been in my life.
So you were a kilo under.
I was a kilo under my 59.2. I was 59.2. I went in for the fight. I went into the ring, and I was like, not even before the fight, I went for a run around the track because I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm not fit enough. I'm not fit. I got in the ring, and I remember this guy just hit me. And he had hands of stone anyway, and I was like, shit. I was like, that was, it's big. So at that point, my legs were like, you weren't there. I know what you mean. Like physically, you're not there.
You want to move, but you can't.
And I'm natural. You know how I move. I'm a natural mover. I hit and move, and I'm moving. But even though this guy can't get me, I'm just hitting and hitting. But every time he gets close, my energy was drained. So that was a big lesson. The only lesson I did actually learn from that was don't train too hard before a fight. Nutrition and stuff is something I'm keen to learn still about, because my knowledge is not the best on it. So I'm keen to find out more about this, because we've got nutritionists coming on, which is brilliant.
Yep. We've got some brilliant guests coming on. We've got Mikey McKinson on tomorrow. We've got his nutritionist coming on, who's got a great story. Yep. We've got sports psychologists coming on the podcast. Lots of nutritionists. We're going to be able to give you so many different views of different peoples that have seen all types of studies, get the science involved, and we're all going to learn some cool things. So, which
is key. Why we named it Not Just Boxing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So. Even though our backgrounds are boxing, there's so much to it.
So much more to boxing. So much more, and areas that are really undervalued, and that we're hopefully going to bring eyes to that and let people know about what sort of avenues boxing can help their boxing career. Reflecting on it, but yeah, going back to you obviously you went back to boxing. You had your first fight. You come to the University of Portsmouth, I believe, right? Did you have your second fight here?
So I had my second fight at Gym 01. I had a lot of time out of the ring after the first because I went to university, and after the first fight, even though I was training for a bit, you know, it was summer holidays. I was a kid, end up, you know, just busy, and I wasn't committed. That was the main. I wasn't committed to boxing that much. But when I come to uni, I tried out a couple clubs. Went to Heart of Portsmouth.
Oh, did you go Heart of Portsmouth?
Yeah. So
what year did you go Heart of Portsmouth?
so
Do you remember?
it was my first year, so it was 2017. I went with Luke Wilday, the guy that I was saying that got me into it. But we went down there, and I remember at that point, you're drinking a lot, you're a uni student, you know, your diet is pizzas and, you know, frozen food. And I remember I turned up, and at Heart of Portsmouth, the first thing they do...
Running? Around the track?
You run a mile.
Mile and a half.
Is it a mile and a half?
3 laps is a mile and a half. Yeah.
So we did a mile around the gym. It was exactly a mile.
Okay.
And they were like, I think they were timing you and everything. And after the mile, I was done. Again, like I'd not been training, and I went in the gym, and they were like, "Do you want to do a bit of sparring?" I thought, yeah, okay, that sounds good. And I'm looking around, and I didn't know who was really my weight, but they put me in first of all with Ebony Jones.
Oh, a little 51 terrier.
Yeah,
51 kilo was she? 52.
Mate, well, she hit a lot harder.
She
than
hits
51.
hard, don't she? Yeah, I remember sparring her when she was like she must be like 12, 14, and I was just, you know, taking it easy. When she goes boom, 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 you're like, damn, man, this girl can punch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At that, now she was a little bit older when you sparred her.
Yeah, so that was 2017. I don't know how old she would have been then, but yeah, oh my god, I got in the ring and I was thinking, right, I'm gonna try and stay fresh. I don't want to use too much energy because I'm gonna be sparring the other people. I think I had Walid and Ahmed, two brothers that are. We're hoping to get them on the podcast too. They got
a good story.
Amazing. Right? They got great stories. Yeah. They train hard and they hit like a train. But anyway, I was sparring Ebony, and I remember I threw a sloppy jab straight away, and she's just like boom boom, hit me with a 1-2 in the face, like so much power as well. And I was like, oh my god. And then that was it. The whole entire round, she just beat me bad. Yeah, it was good though, because after that I was thinking, right, okay, what's next? It can't be any worse. So I actually felt a bit confident after it, because I don't know, I was warmed up. It was all right, you know. I got a couple shots in, but then they put in Walid.
Wow.
Oh my god. Yeah, again, I just they put in Walid and Ahmed for a couple rounds, and by the end of it, I remember I got a thumb in my eye as well. The thumb of the boxing glove.
Who was that from?
From Ahmed, by accident, of course. But yeah, I couldn't see out my eye, and I was just like, oh god, here we go. You know, I've turned up my first boxing session. I've been battered by everyone.
That's quite bad though. On reflection, if I'll be honest, like they stick you in with three of their best boxers. Really, they're good boxers, all 3 of them. But
I chose to, you know.
But you didn't choose to go in with, like, if they would put you in against someone your level, you would have thought, or just to check how your level is.
Yeah.
And then put you in. Okay, you can spar this guy. Mm-hmm. So chuck you in was straight away one of the guys. They should, at that point, I guess you left or you didn't come back because of that reason.
No, so I stayed for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But then at this point, Luke had been talking to Wayne Gardner.
Okay.
And Connor, and they were saying at Gym 01 they've got the University of Portsmouth. They've got a lot of students there and everything. So I thought, I'll give that a go. So that's when I moved to Gym 01, and turned up. At first, I didn't really like it that much. I'll be honest. Like, it was all on the mats and stuff because it's an MMA gym.
Yeah.
It's very different to boxing gyms. But the coach, Connor, amazing. He was the coach that I had all the rest of my competitions with.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. So, like, every single session I was turning up, it was him. There was a coach called Mark Davies. And then there was so much talent in there, and you just learned so much every set. And again, you know, I finally found my rhythm, my routine. Yep. And then I ended up having my second bout against a guy in Cheltenham, Gloucestershire, Rudy. And I remember I was meant to fight him on our home show. He never turned up. I got a call on the day. I've had this so many times now. Sorry, bud. He's not turning up. You know, he's pulled out. And I've only had 8 fights. I've had over, including Australia, I've had over 15 people pull out altogether.
I had a similar story in Scotland as well. I got ready so fit, the fittest I've ever been for the national championships. training every day, along with coaching, along with full-time work, along with doing a master's there as well, balancing all that. And training twice a day, top sparring I had there as well, Ash. Like, we had a little dungeon. It was a little chicken hut we had.
Rocky style,
and they converted it into a gym. Like, they had a few punch bags, a little rope, a little ring, and yeah, really good experience. And then what happened was I got ready. I got down to, imagine 64. Imagine you're weighing 70 kilos and you get down to 64 kilos, fit, lean for a championship. And the coach calls you a day before, says to you, "Oh, you're not. We haven't got your medical. You can't box at national championships." I was like.
But what's mad is with things like this as well. There's
way.
So many doctors at these places. Why can't they just do it there? There's like things. Why is it so dated? Why do you have to send your medical off to somewhere like up north and wait a month just to get? Why can't you just go to these competitions?
Do it there and then.
Get it there. Get it signed. Have your P test or whatever. But and
this is the day before a fight as well, and I got so much stick from work that day as well. Terry, you're supposed to do this, supposed to do that. You drop out. And then what happened was a week later as well.
You turned into one of the chickens.
Yeah, I did, mate. I did. But no, so even a week before, the weird thing was I had the Bucks, the British University Championships. So I was doing my masters again. So again, we got ready for that. But that didn't happen as well. That was more down to me really. I was getting head pains. Like the 2 days before the championships, going out to the championships, and my mum and dad come down and they're like, "What's up with you?" So I don't know. I just got this weird headache. And I remember I was at work. I just had to just lie my head down. I don't know if hopefully no one's had it, but I just couldn't. Yeah, just so tired. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't feeling well at all.
Do you think you were just overworked? Maybe your body was just overtrained, exhausted.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I wasn't fit, and I went to see the doctor. I was like, "Doctor, I never felt this way before. My headache's hurting. My body's not feeling like it should, but I'm still going to these championships. I promised my work. I'm going to win a gold medal for the Stirling University. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it. I'm here to do it." He said, "If you do it, it's on your own rights. We're going to say that we told you not to do it. It's very dangerous if you go and do it." I was like, "Oh shit, mate!" It added all that doubt into your mind again. So I said this, went home, talked to my family, and they said, you can't do it. And the hardest thing was, again, telling them that now I can't compete.
Yeah.
And then having to go into work and then thinking, "Oh, you've dropped out."
Yeah.
That's twice. Two championships.
Did they make T-shirts saying "Drop out Terry" on?
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised it didn't have much stick I got.
And didn't the party that you were meant to have leaving, you dropped out of as well? You didn't even.
No, I definitely attended that. I was there. I wasn't missing that one. That was a good party. So yeah, I've had similar experience on people dropping out. Or I guess the different side of things. Yeah. No one really drops out from fighting me. Everyone's turned up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're trying to say.
I wish I got the chance, but you're just like 6 generations older.
That's a big gap, son. That's a big gap, son.
No, but I'd say so. A little bit about us two. Me and Terry met when we boxed in Miami together.
Yes, yeah, we both went over to Miami. We boxed for the England universities, wasn't it? Amazing experience, wasn't it?
What year was that?
2017. It was this time last year, 2017. It's mad. I had a picture of you come up on my phone actually, standing next to a car.
Was it one of the supercars?
Yeah. I'll have to send you that later. And the picture of me taking 20 quid off you for beating you at pool.
I definitely took 20 quid.
No, I honestly. Do you remember I even sent it to you once on your birthday? I was like, "Ash," and you said, "Thank you. This is a picture of you robbing me." Yep. You remember that, don't you? Do you remember? You literally you go back to your messages
at pool, just like you lost at running. And it's fine. We'll have a rematch. We'll get it recorded. And
we were supposed to have a rematch in Kent, but it never happened. But oh well, we'll get it again. But yeah, we met him Miami.
What a week!
What a week!
Thank you first of all, James Conner again.
Yeah. He
set up everything. Like all we had to do was pay a fee, turn up, and we had a week of going to all the pro boxing gyms.
Yeah.
We saw so much talent. We went to Fifth Street Gym, Muhammad Ali's. Yeah. We linked up with the American universities, and even though we were boxing them, the respect was crazy. They were such nice people. They welcomed us so well.
100%.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we went there, as you said, we went to the 5th Street gym, Muhammad Ali's, but we also went to Luke Campbell's gym. I was very fortunate enough. Rubio took me on the pads. Do you remember that? Did you see that?
Jorge Rubio. I remember him getting you to twist your foot with your hooks.
Twist my foot.
And I remember because you were throwing your hooks a little bit more of your arm.
Yeah.
And then he said, no. And he showed you that little twist of the foot.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the power in them shots. I remember because you was in the ring. We was all just waiting to get our turn, you know.
Oh, really? Was that what you were waiting for?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was funny. You just said, let's do some pads. I was like, please, yeah, let's go. And mate, at first I was so nervous. I was like, do you know where you get so tense? And then he just eased me into it. And I felt so much stronger. Just twisting from the hip. But yeah, that was a great time. I mean, we had a great week. I went to different gyms, met different people. I really loved it. Really got to know some great people. And again, thank you for James Conner, as you said, because I wasn't even part of the club, and I was able to come down there. So very fortunate for that opportunity.
Yeah, nice. And then obviously at the end of the week, the fight night, that was brilliant.
Yes, the fight night was very good.
Even the night out after, that was
very good. Me and Matt Dunn, we had a good time out there. Yeah,
ended up in Denny's at like 7 a.m.
You guys went back to your hotel, right? Or did you?
No, I went off with Coach Aaron.
Did Coach Aaron?
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Isn't he?
Yeah.
You two must have had a good time. But yeah, me and Matt Dunn, we had a good time over there. We thought where's everyone gone? And we two just stayed and just enjoyed ourselves out there.
But I tell you what, so what we were talking about earlier with dropouts in fights.
Oh yes.
So the day before the fight in Miami,
yes.
Coach gets the call. Sorry, your guy's 12 kilograms overweight. Yeah. 12 kilos. Like how can you the day before be 12 kilos over? Okay, maybe 2 kilos, 1 kilo, but 12. Like that's like 2-3 weight classes. But yeah, that was my guy, of course. We're all sitting at a table on Miami seafront, and I'm eating a prawn salad that costs like $30, and I've got like 3 prawns. I'm not drinking any water because I'm making sure my weight's right.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a call, obviously, saying that my guy's not fighting anymore.
I know.
They wouldn't allow it. So the day of the fight, obviously, I thought, right, I'm not even gonna. After such a great week, like we said, we saw Jorge Rubio, we saw all these great people. We had such good training, and I thought, right, I'm not even gonna be able to get a win at the end of this. And we turn up to the venue, and last minute, thank you. He ended up having a skills bout with
against
my
that guy, right? Oh wow!
Yeah.
And let's put this in perspective. Alex is my weight. He's 64 kilos.
Yep.
And the guy weighed 72, 73?
Yeah, it was a lot bigger.
So I remember seeing that fight actually because Alex boxed quite well.
Oh, he boxed beautifully.
I know the last round he got a little bit tired, I think, if I'm not mistaken, But first 2 rounds he boxed the guy's head off. Mm-hmm. The guy couldn't get near him. He was just heavy-footed, heavy-handed, and yeah. Fair play, Alex.
But that's the difference in weight classes anyway. If that guy landed clean on Alex, it would have been nasty. But Alex boxed perfectly that fight. So.
And what I loved about him was his attitude. I remember hearing him before. He's like, I don't care. It's just a fight. Yeah. We're gonna go in there and do it. I was like, this guy. Yeah. This guy's a G. And you as well. To be fair, I remember you were like, you were so determined. Like your face was really disappointing that day. Well, of course you would be. You fly all this way.
You're there to fight. At the end of the day, you're only going there to get a win. You're going there for pride. You've been training hard.
Yeah.
You want to win. That's all you're going for.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I remember your face reaction. It's really disappointing that day to see that as a team member. Disappointment. I was so happy when that happened. But I'll be honest, if I wasn't nervous for you, because now you're facing someone who was a national champion. Was he a national champion?
Yeah.
He was a Miami national champion, something like that.
UCBA or something.
UCBA, yeah. And I was like, oh mate, this could be not a good night for Ash. But I'm sure you'll see you turned it around, mate. What a performance! Mate.
Yeah. Bearing in mind, 2 weeks before I lost to Mubanga, and that was I lost on a split, I want to say. But coming off of that anyway, and then obviously going in a ring with someone who's meant to fight Alex. Alex has had what, over 70 fights?
50 fights. I think,
50.
Alex, yeah.
So obviously going against someone of that caliber when I'd had, I think, five fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I was
Amazing
excited.
fight.
That I was ready for it. Yeah.
That was a great performance. I think you boxed well and you beat him well, if I remember correctly. And it was a good fight.
Yeah, I felt comfortable in there, to be honest.
Yeah.
I felt.
He looked nervous, didn't he, in the fight? I think, which is quite surprising. He come with his Canelo headband. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he says that was given to me by Canelo.
He also had in the audience Teofimo Lopez that was watching us. Didn't you say Teo Lopez and his dad?
I said that to you before, didn't I? Teofimo Lopez was in the crowd. His dad was in there because he was quite arrogant. I was like, who's this guy? Who's this guy talking to me?
Turns out this guy is going to be a lightweight world champion and
undisputed
a big name.
World champion, yeah.
How old is Teo? Even though he's lost his belt?
Mate, he's like 22.
Yeah.
22, 23. He's 23, I think he is.
He's already done it all, and he's younger than me at the moment. So, yeah, that's why he would have been, smug and confident.
Yeah. But no, what night they were there? There was also one other boxer, pro boxer. He was 18-0, but he lost recently to Hooker. Well, a few years ago.
I'm not sure.
Do you know American guy?
I'm not sure.
Who boxed him?
You on about Ruiz?
No. Someone boxed him from Portsmouth. Jonathan Ghost boxed him. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
Okay.
I can't remember his name now, but he was over there. So there's some good fighters, good caliber fighters they had over there, which is good.
After that, I think I only had one more bout in end of 2017. I went to Sweden, King of the Ring. That was my last fight.
Oh, nice.
And again, I wasn't even boxing in the training camp because I was back in Maidstone, but I was so lucky because I had a guy, Howard Myers, that he gave me a full camp, gave me all the strength conditioning and everything.
Yeah.
He pretty much put me through what all the pros do. Helped me so much with my posture, my core strength, my fitness. Every week we were just adding to it. We started with strength training, and then we moved to more explosive stuff. And then just by the end of it, even though I wasn't even boxing, I wasn't really ready for boxing, but my body was the fittest I've ever been. I was sitting below 64 kilos comfortably. I was on a pescatarian diet. I thought I'd give that a go.
Fish, right? The pesto.
Yeah, fish and eggs. I felt brilliant with that. And I went to Sweden with all the boys. There was, I think, 10 of us that went, maybe, I want to say. What a trip. Amazing trip. Again, thank you,
better
James
than Miami?
Conner. Well, no, because I was out on the first day and I had to sit there all weekend when all I wanted to do was box, But yeah, no, it was a good trip. I want to go back. I'm definitely going to go back. I want to get a gold medal.
You've been saying that a few times. Hopefully you go back there. I'm sure you will. If that's what you want to do, there's nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
Get there and do it. But just going back one step, my experience to Miami over there as well. So I boxed the national champion there as well. At 60, because you boxed at 64 national kilo champion, didn't you?
63, I think he was.
Yeah. I think I boxed the 66. I think he was national champion out over there. And that was one of my best performances out there as well.
You got robbed.
Yeah. No,
I remember you jabbed his head off.
Yeah.
For 3 rounds.
Yeah.
You were on your back foot. You were comfortably just moving around the ring. Yeah. Didn't really get cut off once. Landed probably about 20, 30 jabs around comfortably. And then they called out the other guy with the winner at the end. I remember filming it and I was like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Should have been a meme, really.
That I was so disappointed at that reaction because I was like, what's going on here? And it's just weird because all of our guys won as well, didn't we?
Yeah, all of us.
I think won. only Aaron lost that over there, didn't he?
Aaron McHugh.
He boxed that guy at 71. Yeah, he lost that. Me, and I was really disappointed because the guys said afterwards. Everyone thought I was a boxer of the night as well, which I was really happy with.
Yeah,
but you had a good.
Personally, I thought Kwame.
I didn't see his fight because he was just before me.
Yeah, you were warming up, right?
I was just warming up. So
but if we can get this, if we can get some of the footage out, we only had it on Facebook Live, but I remember your bout and Kwame's bout were just incredible. Kwame, it was so high intensity for middleweights, that they're strong enough to knock each other out of any punch. but they're quick enough to go 3 rounds at a really good speed.
Yeah.
And what a fight that was. That's one of the best fights I've seen in the amateurs.
Really? Was it both 50-50? Were they both going at it together?
Before they both got in, like, I didn't know anything about the other guy, but obviously they were evenly matched. So yeah, on paper, I guess they would have been 50-50, but Kwame got the win. And he looked incredible. Really.
Did he really?
He's coming back now as well. He's just started
I see him in the gym. He's slowly. I see his stories.
Yeah.
I see he's slowly getting back, which is great. Which is props to him. I hope he does get. He's still young. He's about your age, isn't he?
I'm not sure, but I first heard about Kwame because he was meant to box my close mate Luke Wilday in one of the championships.
That would have been good.
They were meant to be meeting, and Luke, Luke's a great boxer. He's
I've not seen Luke box. I've not even seen Kwame box, to be fair. So, but they both. I know that they're good fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I know what Luke. I
wouldn't really want to see it, to be honest. I don't really.
Yeah.
As a friend of both of them, like, I don't know. I think it'd be a good fight, though. It would be a good fight.
Yeah. I don't know if Luke still wants to fight. If he does, it'd be a good fight. If Kwame's coming back, even if it's for a home show, that'd be a cracking like.
Yeah.
Depends who's. It could potentially be a main event as well.
So tell me a bit out of boxing. So obviously you've been around university for quite some time, longer than me. What did you do growing up? School? How were you as a kid? What did you do at university?
Chubby kid, quiet kid. Around school I was quite quiet, not really confident, I guess, around that sort of environment. But when I was home, I was a confident kid. I was like the oldest in my family. So yeah, I was quite confident around people that I was comfortable around, I guess. So yeah, that was that sort of thing. And then at university, obviously went to school, university. I did as an undergraduate business IT, business information technology, and then I did a master's at University of Portsmouth as well in sports management. And then
when you say you did a master in sports management, what was your work? What was you actually doing?
So, what do you mean by what was I doing?
So, like, for example, I did criminology, and my dissertation was around rehabilitation, young offenders.
Okay. Yeah. So my dissertation at that time was around the growth in women's boxing.
Nice.
So I was very keen to find out avenues in, how it's grown, and what can be done to continue that growth in women's boxing. So it's very much from a business perspective. How can we continue that growth? We can increase it in more markets. With the growth in sort of the British market, how can we now reach that out to countries like China, to India, to Malaysia, all these different countries? And so there's all strategies into that.
Since then, how much has women boxing come on?
It's gone crazy, women's boxing.
A bit off topic with this. We've just had news, obviously, Taylor against Serrano.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah. Who do you reckon? Who you got?
I've got to go with Katie Taylor. I love her. Like, I think Katie Taylor, her fundamentals, her boxing, she's brilliant. I've always, especially where she's moved up weight classes and that, she's gone against such tough women, and she's had some close wins.
2-weight world champion now, right? 2-weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, lightweight and lightweight.
Yeah, she's just incredible. I love watching her fight. I'm surprised Eddie Hearn's not made her a main event. She's always
she's been on a few main events.
She's a co-main event. She's never had her own show. Katie Taylor could easily sell out the biggest place in Ireland, and it'd be all about Katie Taylor.
Well, if that was the case, she would have done it by now. If you're telling me, but
it's happening right now. That's the beauty
of it.
What
a fight is happening
with Serrano.
As well.
But I think that's promoted by. Is it Jake
Paul? Jake Paul and Eddie Hearn getting involved. That'd be a great promotion, I think. Jake Paul's obviously known for his promoting. He's promoting this Selena, so hopefully he does a good job with her. I'm sure he will. He's got what's he got? 25 million followers on Instagram, something like that. It's a huge platform.
Who's that?
Jake Paul.
He's got more than 25, isn't he?
I'm not sure. Around about 20, yeah.
Well, he's obviously lots of controversial opinions on him. With the whole switch over into boxing, but
I like it. I personally like it. I think it brings more eyes to boxing. I think there's nothing wrong with him trying a new sport. Maybe at that, what the people don't like is that he's getting so much attention. He's making so much money. whereas people who have been in the game their whole life will never make that much money.
That's
in the sport.
exactly what I was going to say. There's so much talent, so many prospects, so many people that dedicate their life to boxing.
Yeah, which is hard to do what he's. Yeah,
and he's walked in, and he's not even had an amateur boxing fight.
Yeah,
his actual boxing standard is still not very good. Like most amateur boxers at his weight that are elite would school him. Facts.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
But one thing you always hear about Jake Paul from people who are around him is how hard he works. As long as what I say is there's no harm. Like we hear from people all the time, like you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Why shouldn't you do it? What's stopping this guy? If he's got the fan base, if he's got people who's willing to pay to watch him, which is what pro boxing is about, why can't he have that fight?
I agree. I fully agree. Fair play to him. But what I'm saying is, he's not even an amateur fight. And like when he's boxed guys that are like lightweight MMA guys, him or his brother knocked out a wrestler. And
his brother didn't knock out a wrestler.
I don't know.
It was Ben Askren.
Ben Askren. The guy's never ever boxed in his life. He didn't even do stand up in MMA. Yeah. And they're putting that on. He knocked out like a basketball player.
Yeah.
Like fair enough. It's good for the business. It's good for him. But I think overall, I'd much rather see the talent being promoted better, and that's why part of this platform, I really want to get all the prospects, all the talent, all the up and coming fighters more recognition.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
because boxing, it is slowly making a comeback with Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. With this era, we're finally starting to see more boxing fans. Whereas obviously since the 80s and 90s, it's really dropped off. So from what I understand, no, you've been around boxing, but for a lot of people, as soon as the number one doesn't fight the number two anymore, and there's all these belts involved, and there's all the politics, people don't want to watch that. People don't care.
Let me go back to a point. Is what you said before is about Jake Paul. Is you saying that he's potentially bad? He gets a lot of the attention, but what he's actually doing, he's bringing new eyes to the sport. What that means is, if you see on his cards as well, he's got boxers on his undercard, like he had
Billy Joe Saunders
on his undercard previously. In his fight that he previously had Daniel Dubois on his undercard. Tommy Fury was on his undercard as well. This is I think about a year or so back. But he's got boxers on his undercard.
I'm not going to be labelled here as a hater. I do like what he's done. He's of course, especially setting up the Serrano fight and promoting it.
He was a big part of that.
Fair play to him. Yeah. But what I don't like, what I've said, it's completely different though compared to the boxing world that we know. It just shows how many flaws there are, and like you said, you're bringing new eyes, people that would never even think of watching boxing. He's got millions of kids that
that could potentially lead on to people watching other fighters. They might like a Devin Haney, they may like a Danny Garcia or Ryan Garcia.
The problem is they like a Jake Paul that has no real technique, that is winging it. When you see most people that like you look at a pound for pound king, you look at someone like Lomachenko, Golovkin, Canelo. Like if you're looking up to them as fighters, great. But when you're a kid and you're only tuning in for Jake Paul, and it's all you see and it's all you're going to talk about in the future, it makes a mockery of all of these hard-working professionals, all the people that have had these great careers. And that's
I guess it's down to personality. I guess Jake Paul sells himself. Whatever he does, I don't follow him. I don't know much about him, but in terms of what he does, in terms of gaining that audience, maybe that's something boxers can learn from.
Yeah,
I think that instead of seeing it as a hate, say what is he doing that's that I can learn from, and put that into my plan.
But the thing is, as a boxer, you've got so many stresses. Look at a pro boxer that, let's say you're a good amateur that goes pro.
He's been trained pro boxer.
No. But you look at any guy that goes pro. You got money problems. You got to sort out sponsorships. You've got to train yourself. You've got to find a gym that's actually going to look out for you. You've got to find a good coach.
Yeah.
You've got so many stresses in your daily life. You've got so many things going on that at the end of it's you can't be focusing about promoting on YouTube, about doing all the things that Jake Paul did in the past. Jake Paul,
when he was a kid.
Jake Paul had such a good following that it fell in place for him, and fair play. But you can't say to a pro boxer that's just trying to make his rent, feed his kids, and try and go through the ladder of boxing that he could learn off them, because how is he going to have time to build a YouTube channel and do funny videos and build a following? It's tough. The boxing world, you only see the successful people, but it's like 1% of boxers really get a good wage, good money. And the majority of other boxers, you're putting your life on the line when you get in the ring. And it's a tough sport. So again, this platform, it's going to be huge. We're off to Brentwood on the 12th of February. Thank you, John Trefway. I hope I said your name right, but lovely guy, good promoter. He sorted us out with media passes, so it's going to be good, isn't it?
Yeah. So looking forward, 22. Obviously, we're in end of January now. Boxing's been stopped in January. There wasn't much boxing in the UK in January. What sort of fights are you looking forward to in 2022, shall we say?
Well, obviously Mikey McKinson, Virgil Ortiz,
cracking fight,
amazing. That is the typical boxer versus puncher. You know, you've got a really awkward southpaw, a right-handed southpaw. So obviously Mikey's got a strong lead hand against, you know, a guy that's got 18 fights, won them all by knockout. You know, it's a great matchup. So for that, obviously in March, I'm very excited. Tyson Fury, Dillian White, that's just been
announced. I was gonna say that's the fight I'm looking forward to. Cracking, mate. Dillian White deserves that shot for so long. What's it been? 3 years? It's been mandatory.
Oh yeah,
it's been over 1,000 days or something. I'm looking forward to that fight, and I think Dillian White, all I ever see of him is training. Like, he's always out in Portugal training.
And even White's camp, he had that savage knockout loss to Povetkin. That was you know, that was not in the script.
That was a dirty left uppercut, wasn't it?
That was one of the best knockouts ever, but that was unlucky. That's heavyweights. But Dillian White's dedicated himself, like his nutrition, his sport and exercise science. He goes to Loughborough University for a lot of training.
He used to.
Yeah, he used to, but like, you know, he built such a good foundation as a pro that he deserves his shot. He deserved it 2 years ago.
Who do you reckon that fight?
I still think Fury. Just because he's such a bigger, awkward fighter, and obviously
6'9", what's he, 270 pounds? Yeah, whereas Dillian White's 6'4", I want to say 240 pounds. So
as much as I like White, he's not that quick. He's quite slow.
It's banging left hook though, right?
Yeah, but like when White got knocked out, he threw a jab so slowly, only in like the 4th round, but he threw such a slow punch that he got countered. And Fury, you know, he moves around like a middleweight. You know, he's always bouncing.
Very light-footed,
He's very light-footed.
And he's been always in the gym now. When he Tyson Fury, he's been very dedicated.
He's in his prime. He's in his prime now.
Yeah, 30. What is he? 33. So he isn't. They're both 33, and I think Dillian White's 34. So they're both around that sort of prime sort of age for a heavyweight.
What other fights? You got Khan Brook coming up.
Oh yes, that's what I'm very much looking forward to. I'm a big fan of both fighters. I think I'm watching both of them grow. You know, growing up, I've watched both of them. Going to that fight as well. So looking forward to going to that fight.
What's your prediction?
For me, you know, you have to think. You look at both boxers, and you have to look at what they've got left. Kell Brook in his last fight, he did get knocked out by a jab, really, didn't he? A Terence Crawford jab. So you know, so you got to see how much he's got left in his system. But Amir Khan,
broken eye socket. You know, he's got injuries that are going to be there rest of his life.
Of his life, it's to live with. And Amir Khan's last fight, I know he boxed out in Saudi Arabia or something, but the fight against Terence Crawford, you know, there's question marks whether he quitted in that fight. You know, so you don't know. But I think even though Khan has been knocked out, Kell Brook has taken more of a beating. So he's had 2 broken eye sockets. He's been in with Golovkin.
But didn't Khan also get a broken jaw as well?
Khan's no. I don't think he's had a broken jaw. I don't know. I don't know if he's had that. But my sort of Khan's a smart man. He wouldn't. You know, he's had the opportunity to fight Brook for years. Brooks called him out no matter what anyone says. Brooks called him out for years, and Khan's the one who hasn't wanted the fight. Now he's chosen to take the fight now. So you got to think, like, what's he seen? What's he seen in Kell Brook to want to take that fight now?
Because Kell Brook's got broken eye sockets. He's been
out
so
the gym
bad
for so long.
Golovkin, unfortunately, Kell Brook boxed beautifully against Golovkin until you know, the tides changed. I remember we were chatting with Billy Rumble when we saw him last week, and even he was saying, so like, I said to him, Kell Brook was outboxing him. You know, he was winning.
Yeah.
And Billy's like, well, no, you start looking at it. That was always the game plan.
Yeah.
You get fighters like Canelo and Golovkin. It's just a matter of when. It
was a game plan.
Their aggression, where they're constantly in your face, walking you down. Any punch that you throw, it's not working. You know, everything that you're doing is just, you know, it's not working.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But Kell Brook, I mean, we say that, but I'm sure Golovkin's plan wasn't to get cleanly hit as he did in some of those rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was in Thailand during that fight, and I was jumping out my seat. It was crazy how Kell Brook fought in that fight, until obviously unfortunately had the broken eye socket. But going back, go on.
This fight is obviously made 6 years too late, 5 years.
Yeah. What are they now? They're 34. They're both 34. 28. You would say it's probably
6 years.
Yeah.
So
I would say Khan's prime was about 24, 25.
Yeah, but you know, they're both going into this fight. It's possibly going to be their last. I wouldn't say personally. Of course, I'm going to tune in, but it's not something I'm that excited for. Like, if it was me, I think you got possibly the Canelo signing a 2-fight deal. He might be fighting Golovkin for a trilogy.
But you go back to that stage. Who were you going to choose, Kell Brook or Amir Khan?
Okay, so every week my mind changes, and this is no disrespect. I think who's less broken, so who's actually got the better camp, who's actually feeling strong, who's got mentally that confidence still, because they've both come off some big losses. Who thinks they're going to take it? And I'm steering more towards Kell Brook.
What Kell Brook's going from is that he's back with a familiar camp. He's back in the Ingle gym, whereas Amir Khan's gone to a brand new setup again. But you see Amir Khan, like, every time he goes to a new setup, he went to Freddie Roach first, and I think his first fight was against Barrera, and what a performance that was against Marcus Antonio Barrera. Then he went to Virgil Hunter, and if I'm not mistaken, the first performance was against Devin Alexandra. But what a performance that was!
But look at his career. You're saying what a performance that was, but when you get fighters that stick to one gym, that can gel with a coach, that can actually progress, like Khan could have had such a better career if he took different decisions. And also, unfortunately, he hasn't got a good chin. Unfortunately, you know, some people just have it, some people don't. But yeah, he I don't know. He's obviously, when you look back on his career, we can all sit here now and say, "Oh, I could have done this, could have done that."
A two-time world champion.
Yeah, but
he could have achieved a lot more. He could have achieved a lot more. I think that's down to him. But for my prediction, I think Amir Khan. I think Amir Khan beats him on points.
So I like to do predictions. We'll be doing it in the future. I like to do it in percentages. So like, I'm thinking 60% Kell Brook, 40% Khan. Because of nothing's a done, they're going to win. You know, when people call 7-round knockout, you might have in your head certain ways it's going to go, but I think putting a percentage on someone to win is a good way to see. So what would you say as a percentage?
It's a 50-50 fight, isn't it? It's a 50-50 fight, so you'd have to go 60-40. If I was to choose one, I would have to go.
But you just said 50-50.
No, it's a 50-50 fight. But if, like I said, if I was to choose one, I said Amir Khan. So the reason I'm choosing Amir Khan is because I think he'll win. But ultimately, it is a 50-50 fight because of the stage they are both in their career. If I had to choose one, I would have to choose Amir Khan.
Do you think it will go the distance?
Yes.
I don't think it will.
I think it'll go the distance. I think the way Amir Khan's going to box, he's going to box on the back foot. He's going to box him. He's just going to box. Kell Brook's going to try and time that. So Amir Khan's going to be on the back foot, fast hands, fast feet. Kell Brook's going to try and close the distance. Close that distance and try and do what he does best. Try and time him. Wait for that shot and time him when his chin's up in the air.
Yeah.
If Amir Khan does stand and trade with Kell Brook, I think that's very dangerous.
But you know what Amir Khan's style's like. He's going to do that.
There'll come a stage.
He does that. He gets to a point where he's got massive balls. Like, you know, you see him what he's done. He's gone toe to toe with the best fighters in the world. He's come short, but he's got a big...
Not all the time he's come short. I remember the Mondana.
Mondana
when he who else? Chris Algieri caught him as well.
Yeah.
A few people have rocked him, but he, you know, as you said, he's got balls, man. He stays in there.
Even to take these big fights, we've got so many champions now that they're not even looking for the big fights. You got Khan and Brook. that have literally they've gone up weight classes and they've boxed pound for pound best.
Yeah. Khan's
And-
deliberately missed him. It has to be said.
Yeah.
He didn't want to fight him.
But even though he didn't want to fight him, look at the people he's boxed instead. It is
Yeah.
incredible.
But okay, he's
Like-
looking at the people he's boxed. But has he actually Canelo? What would he have fought? Should he have fought Canelo or should he have fought Brook?
Well, I think as well, you get more money when you fight Canelo.
Yeah, he must have got 10 million or something for fighting
Yeah.
Canelo.
Yeah.
Whereas he would have got half of that maybe fighting Cal Brook.
It's
But was it
it's a
worth it?
no-brainer.
Was it worth
But
it?
also, because of that, he's got that payday, and now he's getting the fight that everyone wanted ages ago. So it's worked out well. You know, he's going to have a good payday. Hopefully, he's going to be smart with his money.
It looks, yeah. I think I saw an interview before. He's all right doing for money, so I'm sure that's not a problem.
It's
with
good.
him.
You know,
Yeah.
you hear a lot of boxers, they finish boxing, they have no life after boxing.
Yeah.
You know, you hit mental health struggles, your financial struggles. So that's good to hear.
Yeah. So
So-
that's brilliant to hear.
I'm going to fire some quick fire questions at you just to finish up.
Yeah. That's what we
So,
got.
favourite boxer currently?
Currently, Canelo,
Canelo. Who was your favourite boxer when you first started getting into boxing?
Muhammad Ali.
Ali.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your favourite punch to throw?
My jab.
Jab?
Yeah, my jab's my weapon.
Alright, and last one. What's your favourite cheat meal? If you could have any on a cheat day.
Curries. I'm Indian. I love
Yeah.
my curries.
But do you eat curries normally anyway? Or
Yeah, probably about once a week. My cheat meal. Ooh,
like anything? Ice cream, fry up?
I don't have ice creams. I don't really have. I love a fry up. Do love a fry up. My beans, eggs, sausage. Yeah, I love all that stuff.
Nice.
Hey, go on. Let's give you a fire. So, what's your favourite cheat meal? I'm probably copy you.
Well, mine's a fry up all day.
Fry up as well?
Day after a fight, I'll go get a full English somewhere, big greasy. Yeah, it's got to
Yeah?
be done.
Okay. Who's your favourite fighter at the moment?
Still Lomachenko.
Still Lomachenko.
Yeah, I can watch him for hours. I've watched the same Lomachenko fights
Yeah.
for hours.
Yeah. And how about who was your fighter? So obviously you started when you were 15. Who was a fighter that you looked up to when you were growing up?
Manny Pacquiao,
Oh yeah, amazing.
the Pac-Man. Watching
Yeah.
what he he's amazing. Was he eight weight world champion
8-weight world champion.
or 10? I don't know,
8 weight.
but
8 weight.
yeah, what because obviously where I'm southpaw, I like watching the southpaws.
Yeah.
I like
Non-stop
to see,
action, right?
Yeah,
Non-stop
and
action.
how he steps in with that left hand, like some of the fights that he's had. Yeah, again.
And who do you reckon is going to be the prospect of the year in 2022? Fighter to come out.
I think Midge Noakes.
Midge
It's
Nikes.
his, yeah. I've been talking about him already with you,
Yeah.
but he's 8-0, 8 knockouts. He's obviously stepping up now. Title fight. He had a good fight last time. He's shown that he's got the gas tank to go in.
How many rounds did he do?
I think he got a stoppage in the 8-4-9.
Was it a 12 round fight or 10 round?
10.
Okay. Yeah.
But obviously he's only had 8 fights, and yeah, he's already stepping up. So
Great.
yeah, he's under Frank Warren. I think British title very soon. He's more than capable to, you know. So something about Midge. I obviously went to school. He was a year below me, but I remember Luke saying, again, my mate, that when he sparred him, Midge hits like a light heavyweight, and he's
Really?
lightweight. Yeah,
Wow.
like he busted up Luke's ribs, and Luke was like 15 kilos heavier. But yeah, he's just got such good raw power. So
And it's not just power, it's technique as well.
yeah.
Technique comes from power.
He's
So
at
it must
a
be
very
like-
good gym as well. He's at iBox gym. So
Oh,
he's
okay.
sparring Archie Sharp, Dennis
Yeah.
McCann. There's a lot of good guys in that gym. So
Nice.
I love seeing that on Instagram. As soon as you're seeing it, yeah, he's my favourite prospect. What about you?
Great. Favourite prospect? Chevron Clark.
Yeah, okay.
Good Kent-based fighter, 81 kilos, heavyweight. Yeah, he's going to be. I remember seeing him in the amateurs, raw power. I remember
Didn't you
beating
say
one.
you saw him knock someone out?
Yeah, one of my teammates as well. That was quite hard to see. But since then, you know, I've kept an eye on this guy, and obviously he went to the Olympics. He went to the Commonwealths, and he went to the Olympics. I think he represented Jamaica first.
Oh, okay.
He was representing Jamaica in the Commonwealth Games, and then he's British, so he represented GB. But I remember meeting him when I was in Kent. Very humble, nice guy. And if he stays to that, he stays committed to his training. I've got no doubt that this year he'll have a good year. So yeah,
Okay. Nice.
Chevron Clark.
Favourite coach currently?
What, in terms of the pros or my favourite coach? Or?
In pros.
That's a good question. So, you got to
Caught
think
you out
of
there.
you got to think of Canelo's coach. What's Canelo's
Eddie
coach?
Reynoso.
Eddie Reynoso is class, isn't he, at the moment?
But
It's
also
stable.
his camp's had obviously some
Yeah, he's had a few controversials come like that. But
Mexican
in
meat.
terms of the talent that he's got in the gym and what he's done with that talent,
Well,
you have to give him props. Ben Davidson,
yeah,
you have to give him props as well.
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, well,
But
you have to think of someone else now.
Eddie Reynoso, he taught Canelo when Canelo went pro.
14, was it 14, 15?
I think he went pro at like 15.
15, he had his first pro fight.
So, you know, he's been with him from the start. So, yeah, again, if you've coached the pound for pound best and you've taught him everything from when he went pro, fair play.
Yeah. So, yeah, Ben Davison as well. I just think what he did with Tyson Fury, in terms of what Tyson Fury, I think it should never get overlooked what he did. I know Tyson Fury doesn't overlook it.
I tell you what,
but what he did.
I overlooked Ben Davison because I thought, okay, fair enough, he got Tyson Fury back, losing all the weight, but is he a good boxing coach? Obviously, what he did with Tyson was magical. Like, you don't see that. It was amazing, and that story's great. But I thought, but is he a good boxing coach? Can he coach world champions? And obviously, he's got Devin Haney. He's got a lot of
fighters. He's got made fighters that he's had before.
But
that's been made before.
He's so smart. The way he analyzes things and the way he's molding these guys to win big pay-per-view fights is just it's incredible.
I think a special shout. You have to say Shane McGuigan as well.
Yeah, but again, who is Shane? Well, he's actually got some people now, but who has he really coached from the start?
Josh Taylor.
Oh, true.
Josh Taylor was 140. Ben Davis took him over and obviously made him undisputed champion, but he was already built. He already had that grounding.
When did he take on Josh Taylor then?
From his 0 all the way up to 15th fight, I want to say, maybe.
Yeah. And Josh Taylor's record, by the way, his last 5 fights, it's something like the 5 people he's beat, their records together is like 150 wins and 0 losses, and he's beat all of them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And that's in a tough division, you know, the lightweight division, and 135 and 140. There's so much
stacked
talent
at the moment. Even 147.
147,
Let's not forget 147. They've all 3. Even Super Feather is. Yeah. You got Super Feather. You had Lemonchuk, but he moved up to lightweight, didn't he? All 3 of those weights, as you said, are quite stacked.
Just before we wrap up, who's your favourite lightweight at the moment? 135. Obviously, George Kambosos is champ. I think Devin Haney's got a belt.
Devin Haney. Do you know what? I'm going to give props to someone who I didn't like before. I thought he was a YouTube star. I thought he was just all the Instagram little pops that he did. I thought this guy is an idiot. He can't fight.
Jake Paul.
Yeah, he's good. He's a big lightweight. No, you have Ryan Garcia. I think he's
not active.
He's not active. But if we go back to what he did to Luke Campbell.
Yeah, but
I'm just going back to that. If we're going to the victory, the one I know you're going to say George Kambosos, or you're going to say even your man Lopez because he beat your guy Lemachenko. I reckon Ryan Garcia.
Okay.
I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's got.
But who's he fighting next? Because he's been out the ring for a year.
I think he's fighting. Wasn't he talking about fighting the one that?
He's been calling out Tank Davis. For a long time.
Yeah, but he didn't want the Tank. He pulled out of the Tank Davis fight or something when they were going through negotiations.
He's pulled out of a few fights.
Yeah. Took last 2 or 3 fights.
That's why, for you to say he's your best active lightweight right now...
I didn't say best active lightweight.
No, that's what I asked, yeah.
I'll say the one who's still got more to prove. Mine's the one who's still got most to prove, and the one who's got the most skill, I would say, is Ryan Garcia. Me personally.
I think Lomachenko beats all these boys. Like Tio Lopez boxed beautifully, but Loma had an injury. He had an injury, and he didn't really throw any punches until like the 5th round. And then when you see him putting it on him, that like Lomachenko is still. Obviously, I'm being biased because I love him.
I think I agree. I think this is a bit contradictory for what I said, but
like currently as well.
Lemachenko, you can't. Mate, what's that guy got? 400 amateur fights and 1 loss.
Yeah,
and then he fought a pro,
and he avenged it.
Title,
and he fought for a world title fight in his like second professional fight, unheard of.
Yeah. And he lost, but he did it.
Yeah, but also
I think he won in his 4th fight.
He lost through dirty tactics.
Yeah, that's the pro game. But yeah. Amazing. Right.
Brilliant. Well, thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we've got Mikey McKinson on, so stay tuned for that. We've got interviews coming at Brentwood. We've got some serious talent coming up, so we'll be talking to the fighters there.
Thank you very much, everyone, again for all listening. As Ash said, we've got a big interview tomorrow with Mikey, so looking forward to that. And yeah, thank you very much, and we should hopefully see you soon.
Cheers.
Thank you.